Come on in. Welcome to Idled Out, where we talk all things Survivor. My name is Luke, and today we're talking about Survivor puzzles. Yes, puzzles. Long have they been the great challenge equalizer on Survivor, unless you have a 3D printer at home. Players practicing some of Survivor's most common puzzles at home has been a big point of discussion ever since Evie solved that pyramid puzzle in Survivor 41 in like 3 seconds. But it really reached a boiling point in Survivor 44, where Carson had 3D printed seemingly every common Survivor puzzle there is and practiced each of them for hours at home. By having the puzzles memorized and knowing the optimal way to solve them, he was all but winning challenges before even stepping foot in Fiji. The crux of the issue is a reliance on old Survivor standbys. You know them, the classics: the tree, the flame, the snake. Then there's the second tier: the crab, the bat, the turtle, the compass, the Caitlin. Whoops, wrong show. While undeniably iconic, these puzzles are easily purchasable or printable for would-be players to memorize at home. Survivor has always reused puzzles. There are only so many puzzles you can make per season, but the relative ease of 3D printing technology nowadays has changed the game. These puzzles are embedded in Survivor's DNA, and I definitely don't think we need to throw them out. But I do think we can bring in some underused puzzles from the Survivor Vault to mix things up. I also think Survivor is already trying to correct for this, even if they also simultaneously like that some players are practicing at home. By and large, both 43 and 44 were pretty great challenge seasons in my opinion, utilizing a variety of classics from the past, often with a new spin. 44 even had a brand new puzzle, the Manta Ray in episode 4, which I feel always gets overlooked in these discussions. There have been well over 100 unique puzzles in Survivor's past, and a few weeks ago I asked you for some of your favorite underutilized puzzles from Survivor history that you'd like to see in the new era. I've collected some of my own favorites as well, so let's get into it. All that said, let's take a look at some puzzles from Survivor's past that they should bring back. At number 5 are a few creative variations on the standard slide puzzle. Survivor and slide puzzles go together like Jeff and clothes with superfluous pockets. They just feel right together. Now, I think slide puzzles are pretty fair game on Survivor. Anyone can learn a slide puzzle on an app or at home, but the show can easily scale them in difficulty by adding more pieces. If you go on Survivor not knowing how to do a slide puzzle, that's on you in my opinion. I'm all for slide puzzles, but there are a couple variations on the standard formula that add both difficulty and visual interest for viewers. The first one I want to talk about is the slide puzzle at the final 6 of Survivor Cambodia. This is your standard 15-piece slide puzzle, but made much more interesting visually by the addition of a 3D element. In this case, the face of a statue. But you could make this anything. It could be tailored to the particular season it's in by converting an element from the logo. Heck, make it Jeff's face for all I care. I also think this extra element makes the puzzle harder, which is good. The difficulty in a standard slide puzzle is knowing where the pieces go, but not knowing how to get them there. With this, the 3D element could cause an additional element of deception or second guessing, especially if the entire puzzle is basically monochromatic. Another slide puzzle I'd like to see again is the 5-piece slide puzzle from Survivor Edge of Extinction. Upon its debut, this was an instant fan favorite, so I'm sure we'll see it again in the coming seasons. This puzzle is a cruel joke. So simple, yet maddeningly difficult. 5 pieces, 1 solution, infinite headaches trying to maneuver those pesky corner pieces around. I like that if you don't have a plan of attack and are just sliding things around haphazardly, you can easily just slide your way into a corner. Plus, somehow Joe beat David on this one, which is just objectively hilarious. Overall, it's a unique variation on your standard slide puzzle and the exact type of creativity I like to see from Survivor. A familiar concept with a new idea beautifully designed. In fact, this puzzle already thwarted what we're discussing right now. Prior to his EOE outing, David meticulously screenshotted, printed out, and studied every single Survivor puzzle a la Carson. Then he met this puzzle. A lot of good that did him. I mean, let's be fair to David though. There's only so much you can do in a challenge when War Dog is on your team. At number 4 is the puzzle boat, seen a handful of times in team challenges in Survivor All-Stars, Survivor Cook Islands, and Survivor Heroes vs. Villains. I'm a big fan of this one. It's exactly what it sounds like. The boat used in the physical portion of the challenge is a puzzle in and of itself, and the players have to assemble it before they can proceed with the challenge. It front-loads the puzzle towards the beginning of the challenge instead of the end, and if you do it wrong, it can literally sink your chances of winning. Obviously not a super hard puzzle to figure out spatially, but the waves from the ocean make it tough to assemble, and I like the team-based puzzles with a physical element, where everyone has a role in assembly. The physical players can connect the pieces, the puzzle geeks can tell them what goes where, and it all hinges on good communication. It's a fun, team-based challenge with potential for an entertaining challenge disaster later on if the puzzle falls apart. And most importantly, you can't 3D print this. At number 3 is one of my favorite types of puzzles. Vertical puzzles with differently shaped pieces. Perhaps the most famous of these puzzles is the Michelle Tower, so named because she is the only player to solve that puzzle, and also the only player to kick it over. And while this particular one is undoubtedly coming back sooner rather than later, there are several variations on this same theme throughout Survivor history that I really love. Less known is the puzzle called Odd-Shaped Bottoms, a name which will undoubtedly resonate with many of us. This one is particularly difficult in my opinion. It's a 60-piece puzzle where the pieces have, well, odd-shaped bottoms. Some flat, some angled. The puzzle base isn't flat, it similarly has both flat and angular parts. The pattern on top means that just because a piece sits safely at the correct height, that doesn't necessarily mean it's in the right spot. The version in Survivor One World is good. The version in the Redemption Island duel in episode 4 of Survivor Blood vs. Water is incredible, with the increased verticality and more angled pieces adding a sense that one wrong move could topple the whole thing. This puzzle was so hard that Candace flipped off Brad Culpepper just for making her do it. Or maybe she was mad about her husband being voted out. Maybe both. Another variation on this puzzle concept showed up towards the endgame of Survivor Nicaragua, where the players had to assemble stacks of coins into the shape of a chest. This is actually the last immunity challenge Fabio would lose this entire season. Not to worry, he'd have plenty of coins by season's end. I think these types of vertical building puzzles with odd-shaped pieces are some of the hardest in Survivor history and would be a welcome addition back into Survivor's repertoire. In fact, I'm pretty sure it will be happening soon anyway. And we all agree that we're canceling whoever wins the Michelle Tower if they don't kick it over when they finish, right? At number 2 is one that several people commented that they missed. Memory puzzles, specifically the challenge Box Your Mind, where players have to run or swim out to a specific station and remember symbols, and then return and place them in the right order. Memory challenges are something Survivor has slowly dropped over the years, and I'm not exactly sure why. They probably don't think they're super TV friendly, but I disagree. The audience can play along at home, and you can still have a physical element. I mean, here's Lacey injuring herself during one. The one I like best, though, is Box Your Mind, which is a sort of physical, memory, and puzzle hybrid, where players swim or run out to a station, memorize a series of symbols, then back at their own individual station, they have to reproduce all their symbols in the right order to win. There have been many variations on this puzzle over the years, and all of them have been great. In Survivor Fiji, the pieces had a puzzle assembly element. In Survivor Micronesia, there were dummy pieces mixed in. In Survivor Tocantins, there was a math element. Steven won that, shocker. And in Survivor Ko-Rong, animal symbols were tied to numbers, which told you how far to rotate a disc to open a lock. Overall, this to me is a perfect Survivor challenge, combining mental, physical, and memory in meaningful ways. And being exceptional in any one category but weak in the others simply will not win the challenge for you. There's strategy to how you play. You can go slow and risk being eclipsed, or go fast but risk memorizing the wrong answers. It's delivered every single time it's been on the show, and it's the perfect mid to late merge immunity challenge. Just no more math, please. The last thing I need to see is the new era cast of Ivy League dorks squealing at the thought of doing an equation. At number 1 is Mask Match, the blindfolded puzzle challenge. This is such a fantastic and cheaply produced challenge that I'm shocked it's only been used 3 times. In Survivor Gabon, Survivor Nicaragua, and Survivor San Juan del Sur. Used as an immunity challenge, or in San Juan del Sur's case, a hero duel, the players are blindfolded and must traverse an obstacle course to collect bags of puzzle pieces. While blindfolded, they must feel up a mask like it's prom night, then return to their puzzle station where they must use the pieces to duplicate the mask exactly. Making things more difficult is that each bag of puzzle pieces has dummy pieces inside that feel very similar to the proper pieces. Why is this puzzle so great? Well, for one, the players are denied their sense of sight, and blindfolds make almost any Survivor challenge better. And I refuse to hear any slander that blindfold challenges are unsafe. I mean, technically yes, that is true. But you know what else is unsafe? Going on Survivor. Secondly, it's sincerely challenging. Puzzles with a memory element are tough, and they are made only tougher when touch is the sense you're forced to rely on rather than sight or sound. I mean, this one was so tough that Susie couldn't even stay in the course. Finally, it's just plain fun to watch. Because the audience has more information than the players, it's tailor-made for those sorts of big television moments where you're screaming at your TV because your favorite player thinks a dummy piece is real. I mean, in theory. If I gave a shit about who won Nicaragua or Gabon. Got nothing else for ya. What do you think? What other past Survivor puzzles do you want to see in Survivor's future? Let me know, maybe we'll do a part 2. Until next time, don't get idled out.